With a nod of deference, Renfield bowed and hurried from the room, leaving Dracula alone with his thoughts. As he paced the length of the study, his mind drifted back to the events that had led him to New Transylvania. It had been centuries since Dracula had last walked the earth, his thirst for blood unquenchable and his hunger for power insatiable. But as the world had changed, so too had he. No longer content to lurk in the shadows, he sought to establish himself as a ruler among men, to carve out a kingdom where he could reign unchallenged. And so, when he had heard whispers of a forgotten town in the heart of the Carpathian Mountains, a place untouched by time and steeped in superstition, he knew that he had found his kingdom. With his considerable wealth and dark charisma, he had wooed the townsfolk with promises of prosperity and protection, all the while weaving his web of deceit ever tighter around them. But now, as the whispers of fear grew louder and the shadows lengthened, Dracula sensed a darkness stirring within the depths of his castle. It was a presence that he could not ignore, a force that threatened to unravel his carefully laid plans. Determined to confront the source of this newfound unrest, Dracula descended into the labyrinthine catacombs beneath his castle, where ancient secrets lay hidden from prying eyes. As he walked, the air grew thick with the scent of decay, and the walls seemed to pulse with a life of their own. At last, Dracula reached the heart of the catacombs, where a cavernous chamber awaited him. In the center of the room stood a towering sarcophagus, its lid adorned with intricate carvings of long-forgotten gods and monsters. With a sense of trepidation, Dracula approached the sarcophagus and lifted the lid, revealing the mummified remains of a long-dead king. But as he gazed upon the desiccated corpse, a chill ran down his spine, for he knew that he was not alone. From the shadows emerged a figure clad in tattered robes, its eyes burning with an otherworldly light. It was the specter of Vlad Tepes, the original Dracula, whose dark legacy had haunted the land for centuries. "Who dares disturb my slumber?" the specter hissed, its voice echoing through the chamber like a dirge. Dracula felt a surge of fear grip his heart, but he refused to show weakness in the face of his ancestors' wrath. "I am Count Dracula, master of this domain," he declared, his voice ringing with authority. "I have come to claim what is rightfully mine." The specter's laughter echoed off the walls, a sound that sent shivers down Dracula's spine. "You are but a pale imitation of the true Dracula," it taunted. "A pretender to a throne that was never yours to claim." Enraged by the specter's insolence, Dracula lunged forward, his fangs bared and his claws extended. But as his hand closed around the specter's throat, he felt a searing pain shoot through his body, as if he had been struck by lightning. With a cry of agony, Dracula stumbled backward, his strength drained by the specter's malevolent power. He watched helplessly as the specter advanced, its eyes ablaze with an unholy fire. "You may have claimed this kingdom for yourself, but know this, pretender," the specter hissed, its voice dripping with venom. "The darkness that resides within you is but a shadow of the true evil that lurks in these lands. Beware, for there are forces at work here that even you cannot control." With those ominous words, the specter vanished into the shadows, leaving Dracula alone in the darkness. As he stood amidst the ruins of his shattered illusions, Dracula knew that his reign was far from secure. In the depths of New Transylvania, a darkness was stirring, a darkness that threatened to consume them all. And as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Dracula knew that his fate was sealed. The haunting of New Transylvania had only just begun. The forbidden laboratory, driven by an insatiable curiosity, Harker's persistence paid off as he managed to persuade Vladislaus to grant him access to his forbidden laboratory. With a mixture of trepidation and fascination, Harker stepped into the dimly lit chamber. The heavy door creaking shut behind him. The air was thick with the scent of chemicals and decay, sending a chill down Harker's spine. As his eyes adjusted to the low light, Harker's gaze was drawn to the eerie sight before him. Rows upon rows of cryogenic chambers lined the walls, each one containing a figure suspended in a state of suspended animation. Some appeared human, while others bore grotesque deformities, their twisted forms frozen in time. Vladislav stood at the center of the room, his expression unreadable as he watched Harker take in the macabre scene before him. With a voice that seemed to echo through the chamber, Vladislav began to explain the purpose of his experiments. "These are my attempts to defy the natural order of life and death," Vladislav intoned, his words dripping with a mixture of pride and madness. "I have spent centuries searching for the key to immortality, and these chambers contain the fruits of my labor." Harker felt a wave of revulsion wash over him as he realized the true extent of Vladislav's obsession. These were not mere experiments, they were grotesque perversions of nature, a blasphemous attempt to cheat death itself. But as Vladislav continued his monologue, Harker's attention was drawn to a chamber at the far end of the room, shrouded in darkness. Unlike the others, this chamber bore no identifying markings, no indication of its contents. Intrigued, Harker approached cautiously, his footsteps echoing in the silence. With trembling hands, Harker reached out and pressed his palm against the cold surface of the chamber. As the glass fogged with his breath, he caught a glimpse of what lay within. His blood ran cold as he beheld the figure suspended inside, its features obscured by the frost. Subject 18. The name sent a shiver down Harker's spine, a name whispered in hushed tones by the servants of the castle. It was said that Subject 18 was Vladislav's greatest experiment, a being of unimaginable power and malevolence. As Harker stared into the icy depths of the chamber, he felt a presence stirring within. A primal force that seemed to reach out to him from beyond the glass. With a sudden surge of fear, Harker stumbled backwards, his heart pounding in his chest. But before he could flee the laboratory, a voice spoke from the shadows, chilling him to the bone. "Do you fear what lies within, Mr. Harker?" Vladislav's voice echoed through the chamber, his tone dripping with malice. "Or are you drawn to it, like a moth to a flame?" With a sinking feeling in the pit of his stomach, Harker realized that he had stumbled upon something far more sinister than he could have ever imagined. For in the depths of Vladislav's laboratory, an ancient evil stirred, waiting to be unleashed upon the world. And Harker knew that he was powerless to stop it.